What John has decided to do, he's got this new strategy. He's going to play a music bed underneath his show. And it's his music that's copywritten, all copyrighted. Both. He literally said that. Whatever. And so that way, he says that people like myself and the shitwayer, we can't play the clips because then he could give us a copyright strike. And he's very excited about.
So it's foolproof, right?
He was. You don't. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm boring you, buddy. But
no, I just almost vomited when I seen Trisha Paytas' fat.
Sorry, I just pulled up the last clip we were watching for a second there. So John's all proud of himself with this.
No, I would strike it. I'm the author. I own the copyright of the song. BMI collects money on my behalf. Understand how it works? Like they're my music agent, if you will. But it's copyrighted under John Melendez. And so if this loser shitwayer plays it, he's fucked.
It's a crafty plan you've come up with all by yourself, John.
No, I think Hackbride gave it to me, or
yeah. It wasn't John's idea. Yeah. Good job, Cardiff.
So, can I just point something out, a flaw with his plan?
What's the flaw?
Shockingly, if a song is copywritten or whatever the term is, by anyone, even somebody great like Bruce Springsteen or AC/DC, a link will come up at the bottom of that video which violates their own ability to monetize that video. So if Professor Melendez has a copywritten song, he will get his own channel struck or demonetized by using it. He's a fat who hasn't thought through.
Well, I will say this. John would have the right to put a strike in against a channel. Now, the way he keeps talking about how, he has BMI, he's registered with BMI. And so what happens is, if I put Isotopes music in my videos, I get a notification that I don't own that. The Isotopes do. And it doesn't make it so I can't play the video, but I can't monetize it. So if John wanted to, I'm sure he could put in a strike against a channel that's playing his music on their channel. And that's his whole goal. He acts like he doesn't care. He said many times, I don't care if you guys goof on me. And then he finds out a way that we can't goof on him. He goes, I'm going to use this. So obviously he does care. He's almost like a hypocrite, which I'm going to be pointing out a few times in this segment. So he's got this plan where he's like, okay, now I can use this video and I can strike people for using my content. I couldn't under the fair use clause, but with music, it's very different. If you play even a little segment of a song that's registered with ASCAP BMI, then yes, you have a copyright on that. The problem is, John didn't realize there's software out there where you can take out the music. And I want to thank my buddy John Marlowe for once again sending me over the episode on Monday with Vinny and Tuesday with Cardiff with all the music taken out of it. So it's just John talking. So this is not working for him. It's not going to work at all.
Yeah, so plus, he has a new scar on his chin. So I wonder if he fell over in Jamaica.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for leading me into this. John did an episode on Saturday. Now, we were starting to snipe it a little bit at the beginning of the episode. It's kind of a cold open for us on our Saturday episode because all of a sudden John's back. He was suspended for a week from YouTube. He's back. He says he was in Jamaica, even though everyone pointed out the photos that he was posting on Twitter were not his. But then John devised that, oh no, I did that on purpose to troll you, but I really did go to Jamaica, which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. But he claims still to this day that he did go to Jamaica and that he was bringing a girl with him to Jamaica.
A girl?
Yeah.
What if he came back with his long hair like in those braids?
Yeah.
Like the beach braids?
Well, someone photoshopped that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, which is fucking hilarious.
That's funny. I
Jamaican
thought I just
John.
came up with that.
No, it's hilarious. It would have been funny if he did that. But instead, he got a haircut and shaved his face, which is probably a good move. A lot of people made fun of him for his hair for a long time, being a pretty lady and doing his hair all the time. So John claims the reason why he didn't take any selfies or any photos of him in Jamaica is he didn't want to spoil the surprise of getting his hair cut. God forbid that would have been spoiled before Saturday at 2, where we all say, oh my God, John got his hair cut. Holy shit. Never seen this before.
What a story. Stop the presses.
Amazing.
I think even he became aware that he looked like Job from the Lawnmower Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of my topical references.
It wasn't a good look. So, for some reason, John comes on his show on Monday and starts bragging right away about his new look and how that's going for him.
Emergency remedial truth. Looking dapper lately, John. Yep, I'm trying. Had a nice date yesterday. Very nice date. It was a lot of fun.
So he just brought his girlfriend to Jamaica, comes back, and then he came back Saturday to podcast, and then this was on Monday. So Sunday he had a date with another girl.
I'm sure the girl that went to Jamaica stayed there. Not going back, hiding from him.
Yeah. So that doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But all right, John's just always be bragging about all his girls and all his dating and everything that's going on. So the reason why John came on Monday was because on Saturday's episode, he was very riled up. He had a lot to say about Vinnie Paulino. The thing about being John's friend, it's not easy. It's a lot of work. John will call you and text you. The time that I immediately stopped messaging with John over any type of phone conversation or text was when he texted me the text, "Call me now." I do not respond well to that.
No.
Because I've worked very hard in my life to not have a boss. No one tells me what the fuck to do. So John telling me to call him and just like, oh, go fuck yourself.
I don't negotiate with terrorists.
I do not negotiate with terrorists. So this happened to Vinny too, which we'll get into. But this is John because Vinny got upset and annoyed with John and tweeted out like, motherfucker, I don't know why you're coming at me. So John's doing damage control now on this episode.
I didn't say anything bad about Vinny. I didn't call him one fucking name. Now keep in mind, Vinny.
Ew.
I
Fingers
know
out.
that you made jokes
That's Billy
at my
Madison.
expense in the past. But I, being the mature man that I am,
Oh, so he's like, Vinny, you made jokes.
Yeah.
You stand-up comedian?
Yeah.
Kidding?
How fucking funny is that? It's just like, I didn't even call him any names. And by the way, Vinny has made jokes before, but I'm the bigger man. Okay. I understand that. So now he's going to talk about calling Vinny over and over again.
how many times that I have actual proof to show you how criminal the shit Carl was doing to me. And I do mean criminal. But you don't want to hear that. Carl's just kidding. Okay. That's all I'm saying. That every time I call you to say, Ben, now look, this is what Carl did now. Ben, this is what Carl did now. Ben, this is what Carl did now. And every single time you have a defense for him. Instead of just stating the obvious, Carl's a fucking asshole. Because he is.
Maybe you should call Lucy Tightbox. She'd probably agree with you. She'd be like, yeah, no, I know. I'm with you on that.
Criminal? I don't know. Asshole? Yeah.
Yes.
Lucy, how much would you have to be paid to go out with Stuttering John?
Oh, way too. But he would never have that much money.
Oh, come on.
No, but we could all generate
You would all
that.
chip in.
Yeah, we could do a GoFundMe.
Oh,
or
yeah,
something.
this is a good
All
bit.
right. In that case, a reasonable amount of money.
What are you
what's
doing
your
March 10th?
I'm not gonna go out with
What about
Stuttering
March
John.
9th?
No, you could pool some money together. I'm trying to buy a house, so I need money.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You guys hear that?
Yeah.
Maybe
Pool
we'll
some
start
money,
a little fund.
A
take
home
one-
still $400?
Yes.
It'll
There we go.
it.
All right. So John is calling Vinny over and over again to explain what a criminal I am. And lo and behold, Vinny's not into answering the phone for that.
Oh.
Go figure. You know, John just flying off the handle all the time, just reacting negatively to everything that happens to him. And his best friend, Vinny, is just like, all right, I don't want to deal with this shit.
Vinny changed the contact name in his phone to Hezbollah.
John, you're overbearing. You are overbearing. You're not fun to deal with. I don't understand how you don't know that. Okay. So this is building up now, and this clip I just call acting. This is not real by any means. John's talking about shit that happened years ago. There's no way he's not over it. This is all just fake.
Had some wonderful texts back and forth with my kids. And I'm telling you right now, when Lazy K puts on his goddamn Patreon, that yes, we goof on John's kids, and it's a lot more fun than you would think. Then you bet your ass I'm going to be pissed.
I was wondering what the hat was for.
For his outrage.
I'm a disgrace to my uniform.
And then, and I swear, Vinny's defense was, well, he's just kidding. And I said to him, well, how about the audio where Carl says, oh, yeah, and John's kids are a bunch of fucking losers. I still have that audio. And I gave it to Vinny. And Vinny said, well, that's just Carl kidding around. No. No.
Okay.
I'm the father. When you have kids, Vinny, you can tell me how you would feel.
I thought it was going to be Maury
Povich. I'm the father. Are you kidding me?
So he's explaining that he's showing Vinny all of this proof that I'm an asshole, and he calls them exhibits. He's like, I showed him Exhibit A and Exhibit B
Exhibit
and
2.
Exhibit C. So he's going through all this shit. So he's trying to prove to Vinny that I'm an asshole. Now, you guys, all of us in this room know Vinny. If you guys were to ask Vinny if I was an asshole or not, what would he say?
Yes.
No shit.
You have
to convince Vinny that I'm an asshole. Like, Vinny and I are on the creep off together. He calls me an asshole every week. This is nothing new. But John is just like, admit that Carl's an asshole. He's like, well, yeah.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Can do.
Yeah, we all know that. Okay. But so John is now going to show proof. And finally, we have the proof that I took his book. Jesus. You see. What are you doing over there?
A rail.
You fucking dick. You made us listen to that improv bullshit for 20 minutes, and now you can barely stay awake for this.
He's douche pairing on my bean. This is actually starting to bruise. But
It's tough.
My bean over here.
So he's very upset with me about how I put up his entire audiobook on my Patreon, according to him, and gave it away for free, which is fucking with his livelihood. And we've all been saying, like, that didn't happen. I've been telling him over and over again, I didn't do that. It'd be dumb for me to do it. Doesn't make any fucking sense. So now John's finally going to show some proof, and he's got this. He brings Vinny on the show, and he's going to show him what actually happened.
Do you see it, Vin?
Yeah.
Okay. So here is, this is what I'm writing to Patreon. Here is the MP3 of it on your creator's Patreon. I screenshot it as well. This is a guy who goofs on everyone's grammar. If somebody sends him a super chat and he doesn't like that person, he goes, let me school you, and he gets real smug. Let me school you on your grammar. Yeah. He wrote to Patreon, I screenshot it as well. That's a sentence, John? You think that's a sentence? Now, look at what he's got underneath this. Let me blow it up to make it a little bit easier for everyone to see. So he is showing, and this is like a Google Doc that he sent to Patreon to have my Patreon taken down. He's still proud of that for some reason. Bonus number 35, easy for you to say part 5.mp3. Now, producer Chris.
Yes.
You were on this episode with me.
Sure.
What do you think that is? Do you think that's Stuttering John's complete audiobook, or do you think it's something else?
I think it's a screenshot.
Screenshot. So what this is what I called the audio file. Here's something that John doesn't understand. Every single episode I put out that's an audio file is a .mp3. Every single one. Every episode on our Patreon, Supercast, our regular feed, the files are a .mp3 that I upload to a server, to a hosting server, and then people can load it on their whatever machine they're listening to it on. When it says, easy for you to say part 5.mp3, that is the file that I named that was our episode, the 5th installment of us goofing on John's book. All right? Seems
now,
pretty fucking self-explanatory.
Now, you notice it says MP3. That's not the normal Carl show.
Yes, it is. Every fucking show I put out is an MP3. It's not a WAV file. Right. Those would be too large. It's an MP3.
MP3. That's not the normal Carl show. An MP3 that's when you click on it and it gives you the audio. And that's what was up there.
But hold on a sec. Could you put it back for a minute? Because I got a couple questions about it. There's a couple questions I have here. And John, don't get all mad at me. I'm just going to ask you some questions because there's some things on this I just don't understand. So please explain to me. Because what I'm looking at here says, here's the MP3 of it on your creator's Patreon. I screenshot it as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Bonus number 35. Easy for you to say part 5. That's the name of his episode.
Yeah. Thank you, Vinny. It doesn't take a smart guy, obviously, to figure that out. And John's like, here's the proof. And meanwhile, he's showing what he sent to Patreon to get my Patreon taken down, which is a dick move. But he's proud of it. Only John would be this wrong and this proud of himself, even when he's this wrong. So this is more of what he sent in to Patreon. And Vinny pointing out that maybe he got duped.
That paragraph after that, though, is hilarious.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's what we're getting into.
Okay, very good, very good.
Well, hold on a second. Can you put that back up real quick?
Well, okay.
What I didn't get is, it says, here are 4 more shows with my book's audio. I've already consulted my attorney, Michael Pavaki, instructed me that this is not, I repeat, not fair use.
Okay. Yes, thank you for reading that, Vinny, because look at this. Here are 4 more shows with my book's audio. I've already consulted my attorney, Michael Popak, and he's instructed me that this is not, I repeat, not fair use. That's not how people write.
No.
First off, you didn't say it once, so you can't repeat it. This is not, I repeat, not fair use. It's retarded. Yeah. And secondly, the fact that there's 4 other shows containing your book's audio is proof that it is fair use, that I'm pulling clips from it and playing clips from it.
Okay. Those are all legitimate things. If you don't think it's fair use, you absolutely have the right.
My biggest problem was the MP3.
Yeah.
Why would I write, here is the MP3 on your creators page? Like, what? Like, I'm doing some diabolical fucking plan
no,
here?
I don't think that, John. I don't think that here. Here's what I think. Here's what I think could be a possibility that I don't think you want to acknowledge. And I think someone was fucking with you. I think that this was a spoof page of Patreon that somebody made that they sent you to because it's really easy to do.
Vinny, me and my friend paid the whatever $5,
okay.
And we both went on there to look and see what things that would be considered a violation of terms of service, and that was one, and the other was saying goofing on my kids.
Okay. First off, not against the terms of service of Patreon saying that John's kids sound like losers. I read through the terms of service. It said nothing about censoring John's offspring.
Also, you and your friend with your $5, it would be one or the other in John's world.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
When John started off, he said that his friend sent him a screenshot. And then we all went, well, it's really easy to like Photoshop. And I should have known you could manipulate a web page in real time. And I put it right into his face. And he goes, well, I saw it too. So now he's changed his tune, pretending that he saw it too, and they both have seen this happen. Neither of them can find the screenshot. John's got this excuse. He goes,
convenient.
He goes, well, my buddy's in Mexico right now, but when he gets back, like literally, that's what he says. When he gets back, he's going to see it.
He forgot to pack his screenshot.
Yeah, he forgot to pack the screenshot with him. Maybe when he gets back, he'll have it. And he
his
goes,
dog ate his screenshot.
And he goes, I was looking for it on my computer, but maybe I have to find my external drive to find it. Like, no one can find the screenshot that he keeps talking about where I ripped off his book. And
this is all because he didn't want it. Like, because when somebody joins your Patreon, you see who it is that joined, right?
Yes.
So it can't be him. So he has to.
No, he did join my Patreon.
Oh, did he?
Yep. The people who say, did John even join Carl's Patreon? He did. He's the only person I've ever blocked. He went on my Patreon, found all the episodes about Easy For You to Say, and then messaged Patreon directly and said, I want all of these taken down. So I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm blocked. I don't need your $5. This is not productive in any single fucking way.
Smart.
But that's not even why I'm mad at John. And I need to explain this to him. And I hope he's watching this. I hope he has the attention span to watch this whole thing. It's going to be a little bit of a segment here. But John thinks that I'm mad at him for talking about a copyright strike. He did that on YouTube for me. He did that on Patreon. That's not my major issue with John. My major issue is when he tried to get my Patreon taken down because we were tied to a Discord server where guys like Hughezy, who like to be edgelords, were using gamer words like the N-bomb. And that is against Patreon's terms of service. So, Hughezy, what say you? No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't Hughezy.
This is a gotcha piece on Hughezy now.
Right. I put up with his stupid bits just to... No. Hughezy's not the problem here. And thankfully, Vinny actually goes, hey, John, you might have gotten duped on this one, because Vinny, I got some words for him in a minute, but he's like kissing John's ass all over the place. But thankfully on this one, Vinny goes, yeah, you might have gotten duped. People are trying to goof on you and fool you and stuff. It's highly possible and even likely that is what the case is. So here's more on that.
Now, if I find the screenshot, then you're going to have more evidence. But the point is, if Carl's so butthurt that I tried to take him down, he can at least say, well, I understand, considering that John saw this link on his own, and maybe, let's say you're right, someone duped me. But at least you could say, and Lazy K should admit that, okay, now I understand, and he shouldn't be a dick anymore and fucking attack my kids.
Do I attack John's kids? Is that a thing I do?
We're all getting sick of it, Carl. Leave the kids alone.
He's baiting me. He wants me to go after his kids. That's the only reason why you say things like this. John wants everyone to go after his kids.
Yeah. It's more of a roundup about other people that shit on his kids. It's just like, well,
no one's talking about his kids.
No, nobody cares about John's kids.
Nobody cares about. I think his family's lovely. I think John's a shithead.
Yeah,
his family's fine. I'm leaving his family out of this. I'm not going to take the bait. This is what John's trying to do. He wants to be the victim so bad. So he's like, well, Carl keeps talking about my kids. If he says it enough times, I'll be like, yeah, your kids.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get me to talk about his kids so that he can then be the victim and go, oh, woe is me. Carl's talking about my kids. He's the one who keeps bringing up his fucking kids over and over and over again. All we do is goof on what a shitty product he has, what a terrible podcast, what a terrible broadcaster he is, how unfunny he is, how unwitty he is. I got a bunch of examples coming up. And he goes, they're talking about my kids. We're not. We're talking about you, John. John Melendez.
We're complimenting them. They're smart because they've left you behind.
Yes, right. They've
succeeded in spite of this.
Yeah. They 86 John, and they have a new family now, and they're doing very well. So this whole thing where it's like, oh, it's about my family. It's not about your family. Okay? And then John goes, well, Carl should at least admit that I got duped, and I should be mad about that. Like, no.
Okay.
That's not a thing that I care about. You getting duped thinking that I posted your book.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to keep up with you being duped.
There's so many better things.
Correct. So this is insane because after all of this, we just saw all the theatrics, all the acting. He's so upset. He's still mad. There's all this going on. Turns out he's over it.
Well, no. I'm past the MP3 part of it all. I've been past that since it's been taken down.
What?
My biggest issue is that you said to me, that's the reason why he's so pissed at me. And also, he said it too. And I said, well, that's because but there's obviously, let's just say at the very least, a misunderstanding. So at the very least,
yes,
I should be then given the benefit of the doubt, and this motherfucker should stop the fucking onslaught on me every fucking second of the way.
I don't even know what he's arguing anymore.
What did you do to this guy? He sounds like a jilted lover.
Dude, what is he talking about? He's over us posting his book, supposedly, which we didn't do. But he's over it.
He's over it.
Okay, since when?
I don't know.
You've been bitching about it ever since you thought it happened.
That's not being over it.
So now he's saying he doesn't want me to goof on him anymore.
Okay.
He's like, well, he should stop goofing on me. He's told me he doesn't care many times. Yes. He's brought it up many times. He doesn't care.
Publicly,
you can goof on me. I can take it. And then he's like, I'm going to put music in the bed. You guys can't make fun of me. Stop making fun of me.
Putting on a goof-proof shield.
I don't know. I don't even know what he wants people to do anymore. He wants to be part of the Dabbleverse and embrace it. He wants us talking about him. He's the GOAT. This is how he makes his money now. But he doesn't want me making fun of him. So what am I supposed to do? He doesn't like me. We can't join forces.
In the meantime, I say we just make fun of him. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah, let's do that until he gives us more clear direction. Yes.
We will await orders.
All right. So the thing about John, he's so bad at interpersonal relationships. I don't think he has actual friends. I know he hangs out with guys at the pub. I know he's friends with guys from high school still. But he doesn't have real friends that he's in actual friendly relationships with until Vinny comes around.
Oh, jeez.
But John doesn't understand how this works.
What I really found hypocritical about you, Vinny,
please.
Carl called your mother. I mean, Carl fucking said horrible shit about your wife.
I called Carl's mama at a live show.
All right, but Vinny, so you're a Carl apologist.
Well, no, I have a relationship with the guy, and we fuck with each other mercilessly, and sometimes we have both been known to go over the line with each other.
Yeah, well, that's not true. I was never upset with you, Vinny, for calling my mom the C word, and you know I was joking that your wife's a sweetheart. I have no problem with your wife at all. She's awesome. And John doesn't even understand this. He doesn't understand ball busting. He doesn't get it at all. He's just like, I don't know why you're friends with Carl. This is a theme for this episode. John does not want me and Vinny to be friends anymore.
Well, right.
That's one of John's things. Who's allowed to be friends with who? Mm-hmm. If you're friends with me, you can't be friends with so-and-so. And if so-and-so does that, then you got to do this.
I was watching Surviving the News today, and Phil was doing a wonderful job of rounding up why all these little gambits that John plays, where if you're his friend, you can't be friends with any of his enemies.
Correct.
And it's no way to live life.
That's how John thinks, because he's a child.
Right.
This is how children think, that they're allowed to. Well, actually, it's how narcissists think, that you can manipulate other people's relationships with other people. That is not under your control at all, sir. You are in control of you. A narcissist thinks that they can dictate to other people how to behave and who to be friends with. I think that Phil Elmore does a very good job.
I don't even understand having enemies.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Dude.
Phil does such a great job. All I'm just like is, I'm glad he's pointing with his emphasis finger and not his prostate stimulating finger.
Yes. It's the little things.
All right. So John's been sending a lot of text messages to Vinny. Watch Vinny's face. It says it all in this clip.
I couldn't the other night because I was working. I was at the club and we were getting ready.
How many texts did I send you, Vinny, and you didn't respond to one of them?
You are correct. I didn't. And also on Sunday,
that's being a little bitch.
This is the same face I make at John. We're just like, oh, I sent you all these texts. You couldn't even call me back. You're being a bitch. No, you're being the bitch, John.
Yeah.
You understand that? If you text someone multiple times and they don't text you back, leave it alone.
Yeah. She's just not that into you, John.
Right. Could you ask Vinny to maybe leave his voicemails on so potentially John could leave him voice messages that could somehow be sent forward to the show? And also, is Vinny standing this whole time?
He is, yes. This is his exercise.
Jesus Christ.
He's doing stand-ups.
So Vinny then explains to John that he has no time to talk about John versus Carl on football Sunday. Vinny was working Saturday night. John's texting him, call me, all this kind of shit. And then he doesn't call him on Sunday because Vinny, like me, doesn't want to get into it with stuttering John on Sunday. I just want to watch, Vinny's watching the stupid Dolphins. I'm watching the stupid Dolphins. We're all just watching the stupid Dolphins. We don't want to talk to John. So then Vinny brings up what happened in the Giants-Bills game Sunday night. And I didn't pull this clip, but it's so funny because Vinny's like, oh, man, your Giants, they got screwed with that call at the end of the game. And John's like, whoa, what happened? John was that's his team, the Giants. That's all he cares about. He was so hammered. He doesn't even know what happened at the end of the game that the Bills won 14-9. And remember, he's on the West Coast. Now, for me, it was 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
I remember what happened.
I do too. Barely.
It was 8 o'clock at night for him.
He's passed out drunk.
And Vinny's just like, dude, and then they had that call. And John's like, oh, yeah, all right, that call, yeah.
Jesus Christ. To Hughezy's point, could you imagine hearing those voicemails, though? There'd be the angry one, and then, hey, it's me. I'm sorry about that last one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, call me back.
For sure. Okay, so now John is claiming that I doxed him. Now, this goes back to, this is the big reason why John was mad at me on Saturday, is because Muttering Jay, who used to do very good work, I would DM him from time to time when I had a scoop, and I would say, hey, post this on Twitter because I heard this information about John. And the big thing was John was claiming he bought a house in New Mexico, 5-bedroom house, when really he was buying a house in Florida. So all I did is I sent Muttering Jay a DM and I said, hey, John is trying to get a misdirection going. He's not going to New Mexico. He's going to Florida, blah, blah, blah. You can post it. And the reason why I did that is because John was lying. If John wasn't lying in the first place, if he didn't have this misdirection going, or he's like, I'm buying a house in New Mexico, like, you don't have to do that. There's no reason to do that. He's just lying. So it makes people like me go, oh, John's lying. Let's fucking get it out there. So John got very upset with me because whoever took over Muttering Jay's account is now posting the DMs that I sent and showing that I sent this information. And John calls that doxing, which is retarded.
Vinny.
Uh-oh. That's cut off. Not when I wanted it to. Okay. Well, I'll explain it to you. So apparently, John is saying that just by saying what state he was buying a house in Florida makes it very easy for someone to find out exactly where he lives. And Vinny even says, John, it's not doxing. He's not giving out your address. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as giving out my address by saying what state it is. Now, if you zoom out to country, right? Like, let's say I'd said that Lucy Tightbox lives in the United States of America. Would that be doxing you?
No.
Probably not, right?
No.
Like, there's like 350 million people who live in the U.S. You're one of them. Now, what's the more granular thing that you can zoom in on after country? State. You're still zoomed way the fuck out. You're still 20 million people in the state of Florida. And I mentioned that, hey, John is buying a house in Florida, and he considers that doxing. John, the same guy who, when was bragging about the house that he bought, was pulling up the Zillow that showed his exact address on his own stream and doxed himself. Like, that's what doxing is. Like, people could see exactly where he lived. But he's claiming that I doxed him just by saying Florida. Not true. That's not how that works at all.
Well, he probably is the only John in Florida. He has a very uncommon name.
Very uncommon. Yeah. And Melendez, are you kidding me? There's no Hispanic people in Florida.
Not a single one.
Yeah, so definitely no Puerto Ricans there, no Cubans. So yeah, it's the only Melendez you're ever going to find in Florida. Okay.
And he's the guy that walks around wearing the Tonight Show bomber jacket.
Well, that's the thing. John is so quick to take photos with fans at the pub or whatever. Like, he has no problem with any of that. People recognize him. He's happy to sign autographs or do whatever. It's like any of those people can say, hey, I ran into Stuttering John at Stevie Tomatoes.
Oh, he gets off the plane in Fort Myers and the crowd is rushing him, remember?
Right, yes. And he's taking photos of himself with his Blue Moon beer at 8 a.m. And he's doing all these things. It's like, you're not trying to hide yourself. The only time people can't find you is when you claim to be in Jamaica. You're nowhere to be found in Jamaica. Other than that, it's pretty easy to find this fucking guy, but I'm the one doxing him. Okay. So then we get back into this idea that I was talking about John reaching out to Patreon directly, trying to get my Patreon taken down, which is my main source of income. And the reason why was not because of copyright. Again, I'll mention it because John has forgotten this. He was trying to be taken down because of the connection to our Discord server where people who aren't me were saying words that are bad. Okay? That was the whole premise behind him taking me down.
Shuli was the one who was involved in... He was trying to get my Twitter taken down. Like, this is... Now, Carl calls that an act of violence, except when it comes to Shuli. What say you?
Well, here's my question. And here's the thing that you have to think about. The Dabbleverse revolves around the dabbler. And the Dabbleverse revolves around getting reactions out of the dabbler. That would be you. Them putting out this fake swastika thing and getting you to post it was definitely a prank that they were pulling. My question is this, and I don't think I've ever asked you this, and I was just thinking about it while you were saying it. Did you actually have anybody try to, like, strike your channel for that? Did you have actual complaints about that?
No, because it's not against the terms of service. This is the thing that John is trying to equate these two things as being equal. John was trying to goof on Anthony Cumia, and the person who was creating this hilarious joke for John was actually a fan of Shuli's, not John's. And so Shuli knew that they hit a swastika on the thing, and John posted it with the swastika on it. So John thinks that they were trying to get my life ruined. It's like, no, it's a prank. You can't get taken off of Twitter. You can't get taken off of YouTube. No one has shown more swastikas over the last month than Stuttering John on the internet. Like, literally, this guy, that's all he does now.
He's a big fan.
Yeah, he's obviously a big fan of the movement. That's all he does. But John's trying to equate this thing that I wasn't a part of. But the reason why, the fact that I'm not denouncing Shuli, he wasn't really a part of it either. Some other person doing it. But for whatever reason, it's the same thing as John reaching out to Patreon directly. I had my Patreon taken down because of connections to my Discord server. Completely different thing, John. People were pranking you, and you fell for it because you're a fucking idiot. Very, very fucking different. No one was trying to get your livelihood taken away from you, or your income taken away, whatever that might be. So more on this.
Lazy K won't call that an act of violence, whereas he called me an act of violence when I try and get the MP3 taken off of this site. That is being a hypocrite.
Carl just texted me, and he said, Vinny, please stop being a fat, boring idiot.
That is true. I did text that to him during this.
I'm guessing Lazy K think that was an act of hilarity.
Yeah. So John has changed the parameters of this argument to where I'm just upset because there was an MP3 that he wanted taken down, which is not the case at all. Okay. So now this is where John tries to convince Vinny to not be friends with me anymore.
By the way, Carl is not funny, so I don't know. Did you find that funny?
No, I just thought it'd be funny to call out for texting you that.
That guy couldn't write a joke to save his life.
You know what he has to do now? You know what his next consequence is, John? He got another consequence last week. He has to do a stand-up act in front of people that Cardiff and I write for him. So if you want to submit some
No. You should have him write it.
We want people to enjoy it, John. We want people to have fun.
No. Let him bomb at his own. He don't know how to write a joke. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to go to Jackie's joke book and just fucking try and reword those horrible jokes.
Well, I think Cardiff is really excited about writing his set for him, so I'm not going to take that away from the potato. Cardiff's devious.
I like Cardiff too, and so March 10th. Yeah, but Vinny, we're cool, man.
John, you were cool. I needed a break from all this shit, and if that offended you that I didn't respond back right away, that was not the best move on my part. I'll admit that. I'm man enough to admit that. I'm glad that we're cool.
Yeah, we are cool, but I'm telling you, you know what? Fucking, get rid of the dead weight. Lose this fucking prick. I'll do the creep off with you.
John, you wouldn't know where to start doing the creep off with me.
Yes,
you would go crazy trying to do the creep off with me. I will be glad to do an episode of the creep off with you anytime you want.
I'll bring some clips. I got clips. I got gear.
Even Vinny's laughing at the fact that so John's trying to replace me on Vinny's show right now.
The guy who thought he was going to get Artie Lang's chair.
No, he's trying to take over my job on the creep off.
I mean, no offense to you or Vinny, but
I know he's insane. Hey, Cardiff.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
So John is saying he doesn't want you to write my stand-up bit for me. Well, also, let me ask you this, Cardiff, because now Vinny has changed this to, the consequence is me and Cardiff are writing Carl's stand-up act. I thought it was Cardiff writing my act. Are you and Vinny are now collabing on this?
Well, I may have to consult with a professional comedian to get some pointers.
Why? I thought the whole point was making me look stupid and foolish.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few directions we can go. So, yes, that's one of them. Okay. That is definitely one of them.
All right. So this is the first of many times that John tells Vinny to stop being my friend. Here's another example.
But I'm telling you, Vinny, I'm telling you this. Just drop Carl and we'll be buds.
John, why do you do this? Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah. Why are you doing this? John thinks that people are desperate to be his friend. No one is. I promise you that. No one's looking to be your friend, John. All you do is take. You're annoying.
Who are these Podcast.